Okay, so I'm talking with Adriana Deparquel, and Adriana is a local hip-hop artist. She performs under the name of Miss Ekko1 in the hip-hop scene of Vancouver. Hello, Adriana.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you. It's really a pleasure to talk with you. I hadn't met you until a week ago. We met randomly in a cafe along with Steve, who we're broadcasting the interview of. He is a music publisher. And you were there with Steve, and you had some interesting things to say too about the music world, and I really wanted to follow up with that. First up, what can you tell us about yourself as an artist and your music?
So, I'm a local artist. I was born in New York. I was raised in Vancouver most of my life, but I've also been well-traveled, Italian, Brazilian background. But basically my music is very influenced by my culture. My parents, I grew up listening to Brazilian jazz my whole life. So it's hip-hop, but it's with a lot of soul and a little bit of samba edge to it. Also, I'm definitely influenced by a lot of pop artists. I have a large range of fanship in terms of my age range of fanship is from everywhere to really young all the way up to older people. So I've kind of been blessed. I've been blessed that way. There's no real, type of person that likes my music. It's kind of a broad range of fans.
Quite universal.
Yeah, it's very universal. People come up to me of all different kinds of races and backgrounds. But I mostly was playing on the street. To be honest, I started off doing a lot of work during the Olympics. And my friend of mine and I, Jake Berlin, we were playing music out on the Granville Street Strip. And there was a lot of really nice people that came up to us. There was little kids breakdancing. There was a lot of sponsorship by other companies that wanted us to play out front of their stores. Just a lot of excitement and it was a beautiful time in my life, But yeah, overall, the music that I listen to, a lot of it is everything from Rihanna to more roots rock reggae, everything from Jay-Z to Kanye. I like a lot of mainstream artists, but I also like some underground artists. I like a lot of Tribe Called Quest and things like that. Aaliyah. Definitely heavy influence from a lot of female artists that I listen to.
I guess you're quite embedded in the hip hop scene. Where do you play, week to week and things like that?
Recently, we just played a show at the Calabash, which was really great. That was with Mr. Fantastic and the Ja Request Band. And then we also did a show up at the Layback Lounge in Harrison Hot Springs, which was awesome. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I definitely want to revisit some of those places and come back too. But overall, my focus is going out towards Toronto, Montreal, and New York over the next couple months, and just trying to spread the joy of music and enjoy life.
Those are the sweet sounds there of Vancouver-based hip-hop artist Miss Ekko1. And we heard the short little introduction where we chatted about who she is, what her music is. But let's get into the meaty part of the interview where Miss Ekko1 weighs in on her opinion about music publishing and how important it is to have someone on your team who's helping you with that. If you're a serious independent artist and you're aware of your rights, and you want to make the best shot of it that you can. And the best thing about this chat, you're also going to hear Adriana, a.k.a. Miss Ekko1, really graciously talk about how it's important to support your fellow artists in the community, and she's really keen to educate people formally and informally about this issue. Okay, here he is. This is part 2 of my interview with Miss Ekko1, hip-hop artist from Vancouver. And speaking of that, what I was really intrigued to follow up with you on was your thoughts about collaboration in the world of music and helping other artists. There seems to be some people have a notion that artists are meant to just be self-absorbed or doing their own thing to the exclusion of others. But it seems like that's an outdated paradigm right now. Would you agree?
I totally agree. So that's the way we would say is that's what's up, you know. The lingo has changed and everybody's kind of got their own idea of what's up. But that's what's up for me is I work with a lot of people that I love, but overall trying to get everybody onto the same page is a challenge. Everyone seems to have an idea of what they're doing, being progressive. But what happens is that if they're just focused on recording and making the music, that's great and that's all wonderful. But getting the music actually to a point where it's going to be published properly is a difficult place to get to. It's just because everyone has the idea that they already know what it is. Like, to go to sign yourself up to SOCAN, you can become what's called an inactive member, which is just you fill out your own paperwork and you submit it. But to become an active member, somebody like an actual administration company has to do your paperwork for you. And that's the difference of becoming an active member. Becoming an active member is puts you in a pile of paperwork that is much smaller that gets addressed daily. And also what it does is that it makes it so that your music is going to be heard on places like the radio, TV, and other things like that more readily. Whereas everyone seems to think they already have it hooked up, but that's the problem, is trying to explain that to them. It becomes a problem with the egos, and it's always like they get the idea that you're trying to get something out of them, but in the end, 0% of $100 is zero. 50% of $50 or $100 is 50. So that's the difference we're looking at there. Is basically these people like Steve that are administrators. They're trying to help. They're trying to help out with the artists, because the artists don't know that they're missing money. Their names might even come up in catalogs that they don't even understand happen daily. Like if their name is up on bills, it comes up daily that their name is on there, but it's a wasted resource basically. Like it's like a blank spot in the paperwork for the person who isn't getting registered. So if artists like that, for example, I have about 35 different MCs that I really love and I know personally through just doing shows and stuff through the network. My idea is to get everybody to throw in $100 each, even if it's just to put on our own show, and we do our own block party and we register everybody's name so that every one of us gets our SOCAN checks. And eventually that means that essentially within about a year, once the paperwork starts processing, all of us, no matter where we are, will be getting direct deposits into our bank accounts for shows that we're doing.
So you don't have a few people down the road going, oh, geez, I should have, half of us did and half didn't. And
half of them don't ask for the help or don't want the help. The other half just don't know because they don't understand. And then what happens is that years later, when an artist like myself is doing well, I've got my EP coming out. It's called What's Really Good. When I've got my EP coming out, it's going to be coming to places like Zulu Records, High Life, places like that where it's going to be popping up. Friends of mine that I've tried to explain this to are going to be wondering why their careers aren't going anywhere and why mine might be going somewhere, hopefully, right? And it's a shot in the dark because you never know. You never know how many fans you got until you try, right? You could have 100, you could have 1,000,000. You just got to try and see what happens. But in the end, it's like keeping it humble and trying to explain things to people becomes very frustrating, and it starts to be a waste of time for me to even try. So I just try to explain as much as I can to the people that I'm close to and just tell them, look, I'm honestly trying to do you guys a favor, and it's not because I'm so great. It's nothing like that. It's just that I happen to know somebody who is a publisher, and that's a rare person that there's only like 2 in the entire Lower Mainland, and that's someone like Steve. So when we talk about that, if anybody has emails that they want to send in requests to understanding more, they could go to the email. Go to Dead Level Dead Straight is the name of the company. Is the name of the company. But if you're an artist and you have a question and you want to ask me a question about it, then you can go to my email, which is homebase.vancouver.records@gmail.com. And that's me expanding my label, because my record label is finally become official. So if people are wanting to be on board with my label, then I'm happy to pass them along the information to just get in touch, because it's pretty simple. It's not as complicated as it seems. I mean, like, when it comes down to it, anybody I work with, I have to have a production agreement with from now on, and that's a very standard thing that just protects our rights, basically. So if I have a basic production agreement and somebody says, hey, I'd really like to work with you, and I say, okay, we get this agreement, we sign off on it, then we work together as long as we want to work. And there's never any talk about it ever again. It's a one-time agreement. It's not like you're pulling out contracts all the time and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's kind of the part that scares a lot of my friends off and people I know, is when you talk about the word contract, and they don't want to get involved with friendship and a contract. When it comes down to it, it's protecting both rights of the person, so that there's no argument, and that the agreement on the music is already there before you start making it. You don't want to do it backwards, where you make the music and then you try to agree upon it, because that can cause a lot of problems.
Because once the agreement is made, then you can relax into the process and let the creativity flow, which is what it's really all about. It's that's right.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is something that is going to take time for people to understand. Overall, like, what might happen is years might pass, and then they realize it after. And after they've made years of music, they're going to realize that they should have been doing this from the beginning, and then they're going to kick themselves for not doing it in the beginning. So it's really, a lot of it is matter. You got to let people just learn it on their own. I can try just like this, like doing something like this makes sense. I can always post the link up and tell some of the youth that I work with to check it out, right, and see what they say.
Well, thanks. It's very gracious of you, Adrienne, to be open about it and to genuinely want to support others. So thanks for sharing today.